The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Faster May. Good afternoon. Welcome to Mannin Line on Manx Radio. Your chance to have your say. We're open line today on the brink of a bank holiday weekend. So after today, we're on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, it's all about education, sport and culture with the Minister and two political members on Mannin Line. So whatever's on your mind today could be the 20 mile per hour limit, and it goes on, doesn't it? Consultation on the proposed 20 mile per hour speed limits for residential roads in Douglas and Onchan closes today. So if you haven't had your say, you've not got long. From Monday, residents in the north of the Isle of Man will be invited to give their views, with a consultation open there until the 1st of September. Concerns have been raised about the potential impact. Well, have to have your say. They're asking your view, so it's only fit and proper that you'll tell them exactly what you think. How long has the Williston been 20 miles per hour and has never been enforced? It says Tam, Speedy Williston. How many speeding offences have there been in Williston? Has anybody ever been nicked for speeding in Williston? Speed limits just don't work unless they're rigorously enforced, says Tam. Terry's got an answer to this. Hello, Andy. I've got a suggestion for our Chief Constable, who says there's no manpower to enforce person power to enforce a 20 miles per hour limit. Well, there are a number of TT marshals of retirement age. Why don't they just swear a certain number in now, and again, as special constables, and give them a speed check gun? Pay them out of the fines, says Terry. Well, there we are. That's a common sense approach to it. I don't think it works that way, because any fines go straight to the Treasury. And whether or not the Treasury will then dole them out to pay special constables, recent or not, don't know. But the point is well made. If you're going to have a law, there has to be a sanction, doesn't there? Otherwise, what is it? Just an advisory? We hope you do as you're told. So if the constabulary can't enforce it, and nobody asked them in the first place anyway, so you can understand the Chief Constable's response. What is this? Is it a 20 mile per hour advisory, an order, a wish, a request? What is it? When was the last time you saw anybody done for speeding in a housing estate? Really? Anyway, any thoughts on this? Text, email, call, what? Oh, Robert's with us today. Hi, Robert.
Hi, I've got one for you. Typical Mannin Line stuff. I thought I'd bring it up. Can I carry on?
You're on, Robert.
Hello?
Everybody's hanging on your every word.
Well, it was on the local forums, and I don't comment on Reddit. I've never been on there, but it was like, have we got to the stage now where life, and I don't want to bring everyone down and turn a suicide hotline or anything, but is life just miserable on the Isle of Man?
Miserable?
Yeah.
No, life's wonderful on the Isle of Man.
Is it though?
Well, it depends what you're comparing it against. I mean, it's better than Ukraine. It's better than Gaza, surely. So, I mean,
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it came up. You have to have a look at it. I can't paste it in or anything because we're on live.
And this
chat,
is on.
But, I mean,
this is on forums, is it?
It's on the local Reddit, and
Right.
there was so many comments saying yeah, I just agree with you. To be honest with you, maybe it's just Reddit.
What time was it?
Well, it was the last couple of days.
No, I mean, what time of day? Because that can often affect things. And of course, if it's late at night when, people are just sitting in their underpants by the computer with an empty bottle of something by them, maybe that could be pretty miserable. You never know.
You think so? You think it's just someone had just chewing off their arm type
Well,
thing, you know?
who knows? Who knows? But the fact is, I mean, social media is, what is it? Somebody said social media is the equivalent of graffiti on a wall, isn't it? Does it really mean anything?
Yeah, they were just the most. I'll give you the top notch of it. It was basically because they were saying if they had, like, a lot of them were dads, and they're like the kids grow up to about, you know, umpteen or whatever it is, and they've just got nothing for them to do. You know, there's like they just run out of steam. They just do everything like I think it's Manx National Heritage and things like that, and they go through all of we've done this now, we've done that now, and they just run out of things to do.
My word. Well, I suppose some people will be saying, why don't they pick up a book and read?
Well, I mean, that's a different world, isn't it? And books are a good thing, but I think libraries have their own issue at the moment with the family library, don't they? So maybe some of these millionaires should get on board with actually funding it. But I mean, who's going to walk out with a big fat check and give you a load of money?
Well, you can get books everywhere. I mean, books are 10 a penny. I mean, they really are cheap.
Oh, you mean Waterstones?
Well, no, I just mean
Waterstones and things
lots
like
of other bookshops, and the charity shops have got books, and you can get tons. And if you go to the energy from waste plant, then you can pick up books there for nothing. There's tons of books there.
Well, it's a good argument, but the same argument can be said, you know, that's the only thing you actually do when you're in prison as well. So, you know, there's that side of it. You know, you can only read when you're up in jail. But I've never been in there myself. I'm not, you know, I've never done anything illegal. But,
anyway, take it from me, Robert. Life is fantastic. Well, it beats the alternative, put it that way.
Okay, well, good luck. I just thought I'd bring it up.
Thanks for calling today. 13 minutes past 1. And I mentioned just regarding another road closure without any notice, says Harry. Tholt-y-Wil's closed for downhill skateboarding. Did anybody know this was happening? It's Friday. People need to commute to work. Well, have you seen it? It is very, very impressive. A round of the global series of downhill skateboarding championships is taking place around Tholt-y-Wil from today until Sunday. It's the action is on today. It started at 9 this morning. Just be aware, part of Tholt-y-Wil road's closed from the point just before the reservoir down to the point after the Tholt-y-Wil B&B. It's closed for these, so it's all happening today and tomorrow and Sunday. There's apparently they can get a fair lick of speed up as well. Is anybody doing this on television? It would be interesting to notice, wouldn't it? I see we have another hole being dug in our new roadway outside Frank Matcham's on the promenade. There can't be much left of the new prom with all the hole digging and repairs, says Tony. I think the island's depressing, says struggling Stan. The government doesn't care. A lot of people are living in poverty, and disabled people are struggling, says Stan. Well, okay, Stan, thanks for that's a general point. If you've got anything more specific, it will be interesting to know. We could test the mood of the nation, couldn't we? Mike Birchall is the secretary of Unite's Isle of Man taxi branch, and he said there are concerns about the proposals for a 20-mile-per-hour limit. Concerns raised about potential impact on journey times. Will this lead to frustration on the roads and dangerous overtaking? By the way, have you taken up my suggestion? If you drive a vehicle, drive it at 20 miles per hour. Well, that's not difficult to do if you're surrounded by vehicles. But if it's late at night or early in the morning and there's nothing on the roads, drive at 20 miles per hour. See how you feel.
We've not been consulted. The DOI hasn't consulted us directly as a trade on this matter. I haven't worked out what travel delays there would be time-wise, say on a run from Douglas to the airport or whatever. We would have to play that out when the limits come in. But I mean, that is going to be one factor of it. And the way the consultation has been done, it seems to have been a done deal already. already. There's posts going up all over the island for these 20 mile an hour speed limit signs to go on, and yet the DOI is saying the consultation. It doesn't exactly encourage trust in the government at the moment, does it, the way things are being done here and dealt with?
Mike Birchall from the taxi branch of the Unite Union on the Isle of Man. I got a message in. This is from Alexander, who says, when we have every other problem on the Isle of Man, specifically finance and the lack of it on the Isle of Man, and the fact that our once thriving banking industry and finance industry has shrunk over the past 10 years, that the politicians seem preoccupied with a 20 mile per hour speed limit. Is this bread and circuses? I think you mean a diversion tactic, as it were? Well, some people have said, the 3 private members' bills, the one that Mr. Hooper introduced to take away the vote of the bishop in Tynwald. Obviously, we've had the private members' bill that's become the assisted dying, and the 20 miles per hour. And we're short of money. So where do you think the priority lies? Anyway, David's on now. Hi, David.
Hi, Andy. You forgot too, the local government amendment bill was Mr. Hooper made amendments to when he was in the department at the time and shafted, in my opinion, was trying to shaft the legislation and make waves all the way through. Plus the other things he's up to now, isn't he? He tried the rates. And what else is he up to? He's up to something else. He wanted everybody to pay for the swimming pools. And he wants a different way of rating the Isle of Man. I don't know where this fella gets his ideas from. Maybe he's reading them from the library. Anyway, I just wanted to say too, I asked the Minister for DOI when I was there on Tuesday the question regarding the surveys. And there were 2 done. There's been 2 done in a few years, and they cost 10,000 each to do. And all the information is supposed to be on the DOI website. I can't see it. Maybe somebody would send me a link, and we could find out what was the results of the surveys and find out what was going wrong. And maybe she should have introduced the 20 mile an hour at the same time, and we would have stopped all this nonsense going around the island now with the 20 mile an hour. And also saying that she shares that information with English local authorities and government departments, and they pick up ideas. Well, didn't they pick up the ideas from Wales and say, no, it goes back to a local authority, a local community area, and they make the difference. They know the situations. And just thank Rob Collister too. I think she had a go with him this morning regarding the buses. But she did admit, isn't it, it's going to be longer. If your bus is not going 30 miles an hour and it's going 20, and then she mentioned about a bin wagon or a cyclist, it's going to be delayed. But I just wanted to put out a little note too that when Brian was on the other day about the local authority election in Onken and the 30-page document, I don't remember 30 pages. I remember it being about 14, but that was down to the Cabinet Office, central government, putting regulations in. And I'll just put a throw out there, because you've got until the 9th to have a go at being a local authority member, which is very encouraging. If you're community spirited and you want to get involved in the communities, whether it's right around the island, in this particular basis, Onken, and join us and have a view, a different point of view than maybe somebody else, and have some discussion. And then maybe, I don't know where Robert lives, I don't think there's people are depressed on the Isle of Man. There's lots of things to do on the Isle of Man, especially for kids. And we have parks and social events which go right around the island. And the biggest thing is on Monday. It should have been on Saturday. It's Timmel Day.
Well, it's going to be a great day on Monday, I'm sure. I think the weather's going to be a bit better than it is today.
Well, I don't know. I think it may be raining, but I'm not putting you off, because they've reduced the stand anyway. It's a church service and then promulgation on the hill, isn't it? But that's about it. The fair's gone. When I was a kid, there used to be a fair there. Used to get on the train. Those days are gone, but never mind. We haven't got the horse tram to the end either.
Okay.
Right, and where the money was actually allocated in my time as well. And nobody did anything about it. Nobody make these ministers accountable. And when I looked at them on Tuesday there, looking across there 9 of them there, I noticed Mr. Krugel wasn't there. So we couldn't ask questions regarding how much money have we saved since he's been in power.
You wonder.
And I'll leave it there.
Have a good weekend.
Anybody wants... Well, couldn't give me a number. 627-863. Don't worry, I've got a machine on. And if you're offensive, I'll know who you are.
627-8...
63.
Okay, all right.
And then if you want to be a commissioner or you want to chat about it, or it doesn't take much of your time up. You do a good thing to the community, and we want, and at the end of the day, younger people to have a little go and get involved in politics. That came out of those seminars. There was 2 or 3 people that said they wanted to get involved with politics, and they were about 20 or 30 years old.
Good.
You know, they need to get involved. All
right.
right.
Thanks for calling today. All right, 22 minutes past 12, as David was saying, remember the Cabinet Office is responsible for elections. So if the number of forms has increased to become a commissioner, as Brian was saying the other day, some of them, a lot more probing than they used to be. That's down to the Cabinet Office. But as David said, if you have a wish and a won't, if you have the desire to become involved in local politics as a commissioner, then I, for one, urge you to do it. As David said, we need as many people and as wide a range of opinions as possible to get into politics on the Isle of Man, learn the ropes, get into a local authority, and then who knows where it could lead. And I wish you well. If you're heading for Onken, then I hope it goes well for you. Life's probably miserable, says Fawn. I know if you live it in front of a screen, a lot of people now can't get away from that kind of lifestyle. It is concerning. Well, it is, but then again, I don't know, Fawn, I know if you remember, years ago, we'll scroll back 50, 60, 70 years. Do you remember when parents used to say to their children, you'll get square eyes watching that television all day long? And we didn't too badly out of it, did we? So who knows? This generation with their addiction to screens may work out fine. You never know. Regarding the 20 mile per hour limit, says 299, I hardly ever see speed enforcement in the 30 mile per hour zones. So what chance is there of 20 mile per hour zones being enforced? I'd be interested to know how many speeding fines have been issued since Port St Mary went 20 miles per hour. Mike in the south. Let's face it, you can't really drive more than 20 miles per hour in Port St Mary, can you? Probably the exit road, and that by Skullfort Lamora, but that's about it. And certainly with that new enormous Bay Queen Hotel bunch of flats there, that's huge. It's like the QE2. So can you really get up above 20 miles per hour? It's a genuine question, and I'm not being facetious, but if you're going to have a speed limit and it is not enforced, it's a bit like Monty Python, isn't it? Why would you have a speed limit that's not going to be enforced? Thank you, says Carol in Ramsey. I'm disabled. Robert couldn't be more wrong. Life on the Isle of Man's amazing, beautiful, relatively safe. Around every corner there's a picture postcard view. Anybody living on the Isle of Man is blessed. Thank you, Carol in Ramsey. Well, picture postcard views. Doesn't matter whether it's a bit cloudy, it's fine. But Robert is correct, says 376. Put away your rose-tinted specs. You'll never get me like that. I'm one of life's wide-eyed optimists. Eldorado, says Ronnie. Eldorado. We need a round of the Red Bull soapbox on the Isle of Man. Imagine the TV coverage we could get from that. We've no shortage of hills or suitable venues, have we, says Francis. The Red Bull soapbox. Get that at Tholt-y-Wil. Crikey. They'd be thundering off towards Derby. And Howard's on now. Hi, Howard.
Hi, Andy. Yeah, that skateboarding, I've seen that advertised for over a week or more. So and they've given specific times for it, when the roads are open, shut, or otherwise. They've been quite clear with their explanations and times. And okay, people coming to work and nipping up through Tholt-y-Wil. So it's 1 week, but one place, one thing that's happening now, the 20 mile an hour limit, we keep hearing before every political speech of various MHKs that it was passed by Tynwald more than 2 years ago. And so why has this not been implemented before now? And why has Michelle Haywood picked it up? One of the things that goes through my mind is she's in a sense, a novice MHK and rapidly been promoted up through the system to DOI and been handed a poison chalice on the way through. It's one of quite a few in the previous years where people have come into the governmental system and been handed a poison chalice and never got back into being an MHK the following year or the following election. Is this a simple thing of the more mature MHKs have decided that was not a way forward for them and give it to some person that's coming up through enthusiastic and eating all the biscuits on the way through, but suddenly found out in another couple of years she's going to go very hungry. And the 20 mile an hour limit is going to cripple a lot of the transport. What about, and I've just, I thought about it this morning because I've had to do a transfer myself, my wife up to the hospital, a 20 mile an hour limit. And it's going to take longer, particularly anybody with any long journeys is going to take longer to get to hospital. And the patient transfer service, they will have to abide by the 20 mile an hour limit, so they're going to have extra vehicles and extra staff to cover the number of patients on patient transfer. Not necessarily going to the airport, but I mean through the various hospitals and clinics. And they're using bus, van and minibuses at the present moment. But I have heard on the grapevine that is all going to end in September. They're ceasing operations with their minibuses in September and going on to, believe it or not, ambulances. So where are they going to get all these new ambulances from? And you're not talking about just ordinary minivans, etc. An ambulance purposely fitted out, we're talking serious money.
I wonder, it just depends which roads are going to be 20 miles. If it's just going to be residential roads and not the arterial and feeder roads, so if you're coming from, let's say if you're coming from the hospital, if it's the road that's just past Bratton School, or if you're going down through Strang, the road down to the Spa, then you could kind of say 20 miles. But then again, 20 miles per hour is... I tried it myself the other day driving it. I made everybody very upset behind me driving at 20 miles per hour, I'll be honest.
Yep. But the problem is it's a very ill-thought-out system, particularly for a small island. And there's already a myriad of speed limits wherever you drive. I remember the one, it used to be from the garage at Corkles up to Governor's Bridge. It was 40 mile an hour. And that was only overtaken. From Governor's Bridge into Douglas was 30, and from Corkles Garage through Onken was 30. But they dispense with that 40. But this saying it's been on the cards for 2 years, and no other MHK or any member of the DOI in the past has picked this up and led it through, and has, as I said weeks ago, that Michelle Haywood has been led by the nose to take this, and she's picked it up thinking she's doing good, where in actual fact it's causing a great deal of controversy, and the past will tell you that these people picked up the poison chalice. They disappear rapidly into the ether. And I'm thinking that, Michelle, you better make the best of this for your next 2 years, because your 20 mile an hour limit, whatever you're putting, is going to last longer than you will as an MHK.
Okay. All right, Howard.
Okay.
How's it looking for the Camera Obscura this weekend?
Well, weather permitting, we're open. Hopefully, the forecast is not too bad. I hope this clears through, but I'm going up tomorrow to clean the lenses, so we'll have a look and see what the day brings.
So it's open Saturday, Sunday and Monday, I think, isn't it?
Yes. It's only open for a couple of hours because, again, we have quite a few volunteers training, but we're still short of them. And, of course, Monday being a bank holiday, we're only open a couple of hours on Monday afternoon.
Okay.
Because a lot of people will be out looking at our MHKs out at Kimmel.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Howard.
Take care.
All right, now 28 minutes before 1. I'd like to say that living in the Isle of Man, it's great. And next week we've got the Southern 100, something to look forward to. James in Castletown, yes, Southern 100 from next Monday. Of course, Timble Day tomorrow, but the bank holiday's on Monday, so the whole St John's Bean Feast is going to be on Monday. And the Southern 100 starts at the same time, so one of our commentators is an MHK, Tim Glover MHK, will be nipping down. Maybe he'll do the commentating in his top hat and tails. That will be a first, wouldn't it? The commentary team in Balown is Tim Glover, Chris Kinley, Rob Pritchard will be there for the whole of the Southern 100 next week. Looking forward to that. Just to mention, the road closure of Tholt-y-Wil for the skateboard has been advertised in the papers and on social media and signage on the roads. Anybody who uses the route to commute doesn't read the notices. Should have gone to Specsavers, says Dave B. I drove along the prom at 20 miles per hour this morning and my automatic 2-litre diesel was in third gear, didn't drop a gear, says Chris up north. I got a note in and it was from Ronnie, who said, the speed regulator you can put on your car, cruise control, my cruise control doesn't work below about 30 miles per hour. And if you're driving at 20 or determined to be at 20, you're going to spend time looking at the speedo all the time. So if you're looking away from the road, isn't that driving without due care and attention? If you have a cruise control in your vehicle, I'd like to know, do any cruise controls actually work at 20 miles per hour? David mentioned Rob Callister. Onken MHK, Rob Callister has already submitted a response to the consultation, this 20 mile per hour in Douglas and Onken. And Rob Callister said he's written again this week seeking clarity over how the changes will affect bus services. Rob Callister believes reduced speeds could add up to 10 to 15 minutes to journeys, which may require an adjustment to the timetable. Rob Callister.
At the time in 2017, I was informed by the Department of Infrastructure officers within bus vanning that any sort of reduction in speed from 30 mile an hour to 20 mile an hour could actually increase bus route. In recent weeks, the current DOI minister has actually said there will be minimal sort of a time added on to a bus route.
And has any of your constituents raised their concerns around this?
Not in respect of the bus timetables, but a lot of people have raised concerns about journey times, collectively, and that's maybe is a car, the amount of time they may be sitting in a car trying to get through the village, which is already difficult at the moment. We know when the mountain road is closed, all of the traffic from the north of the island comes through Onken. It really does need to have a proper review, and that work needs to be undertaken, because if we are looking for safer roads and we are looking to support people to walk and cycle to work, this feasibility study really is at the heart of it. If we're going to do this, let's do it properly.
Rob Callister. So on breakfast this morning was the Infrastructure Minister, Michelle Haywood, MHK, and this is what she had to say about what Mr Callister had to say.
I'm not expecting there to be bus timetable changes for 10 to 15 minutes. There may be a minute or two, but there is already some flex allowed in bus timetables, because as we all know, you get on a bus and you start following the bin wagon or something doing stops, or cyclists. So there is already some flex built into the bus timetables. There may be small tweaks, but there will be nothing like a 10 or 15 minute delay going through Onken.
There we have it. Mr Callister's view, having been told by officers within the department and the current DOI minister. This rolls on, doesn't it? And at the background of all this, The Isle of Man needs more money, more business, more tax revenue. 24 minutes to 1.
It's hot, it's here. It's the Lifestyle Furniture Summer Sale. Enjoy sensational special offers throughout our stunning showroom. Save on our most beautiful beds, sumptuous sofas, living and dining furniture and so much more. Plus there's 20% off art and accessories. And don't forget to visit our brand new garden furniture marquee for truly great outdoors. The Lifestyle Furniture Summer Sale. Now on at Snugborough Trading Estate, Union Mills. It's everything your home's been waiting for.
All right, Paul. You're looking relaxed. You finally booked that trip.
Yep, used some of the savings I locked in with Guernsey's Bank Skipton last year. Great interest rate, and they made it so easy.
Oh, Skipton. I've been meaning to sort mine.
Do it. You'll get proper customer service too.
With market-leading savings rates and service that puts people first, Skipton International is here to help you feel secure, whatever you're saving for. For details on all of Skipton's savings products, call 01481 730 730 or visit skiptoninternational.com today. Skipton International is licensed to take deposits by the GFSC and is a participant in the Guernsey Banking Deposit Compensation Scheme. See dcs.gg.
Heating oil for homes, powering farms and businesses, keeping you moving with petrol stations across the island. Ellen Mannin Fuels. Call us on 844000.
Check out the Groudle Glen Railway summer timetable for some great days out. Visit the Clifftop Tea Rooms and Sales Emporium, book a special steamed tea and join our free family train spotting challenge. Hop on the line that goes uphill to the sea, the Groudle Glen Railway. For times, see ggr.org.uk or visit on Facebook.
The previous message was brought to you by QVH, the island's premier serviced offices and co-working space in the heart of Douglas. Call 639 940 for more information or visit qvhpremierofficespace.com.
The Southern 100 returns next week and Manx Radio Motorsport will be on the air to keep you up to date with all the action around the Balown circuit. Throughout the week we'll bring you full commentary of all the practice and race sessions, classic archive commentaries and some great music. We'll be on the air Monday evening from 5, joining our commentary team at 6 for coverage of the first practice session. You can listen live on DAB at motorsport.manxradio.com, our smartphone app, AM 1368 and around the course on 87.9 FM. This year's Southern 100 on Manx Radio Motorsport, the best biking station in the world, powered by Ellen Mannin Fuels.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
22 minutes before 1. Thanks to Peter Kelly from the Victorian Society has just been told me Tynwald Day, the Great Union Camera Obscura, is open 2 till 4. So you can listen to the Tynwald ceremony on Manx Radio or go there and head up to the Camera Obscura in the afternoon. Take a picnic. Thank you, Peter. It's apparent that our people aren't happy or satisfied with our leadership as the ship is sinking when it could be and should be a buoyant, beautiful and safe historic vessel, which we're here to look after for God, says CC. And regarding enforcement, says Kevin, these are not new speed limits, they're just different speed limits, so surely the enforcement systems should already be in place. Good point, Kevin. The question I just pose is, when was the last time anybody was prosecuted for breaking a speed limit in a built-up area? When? Ken's with us now. Hello, Ken.
Afternoon. Forgive me if it's been asked and answered, but how much are the new posts, signs and erections of the things actually cost if it doesn't happen after the consultation? And the consultation says, well, shouldn't introduce the 20 miles in built-up areas. How much is it costing?
Well, it's got to be tens of thousands, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm surprised the minister wasn't asked directly by anybody, even on the radio.
Do you think
the Pulse are just going to?
Do you think this is going to happen, Ken?
Well, I forget which day. Last Wednesday, I was on a bus along the prom having a nice ride behind a horse tram, and it was fortunate because the promenade bus normally stops at every bus stop, lets people on and off, and it was quite a gentle journey because the bus couldn't get past the horse tram, obviously.
Yes.
In Peel, probably the only place it should be 20 is coming down Derby Road from the swimming pool, the school, to the crossroads by the police station where lollipop person is.
Yeah.
Because when they're not there, people do come down the hill quite quickly if they're going straight down Derby Road.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think is behind the 20 mile per hour limit, the proposed limit? What's behind it? What's the purpose of it?
Don't know. It's not. Is it road safety? Get behind a cyclist and you're doing 20 miles an hour? Because the accident rate's hasn't been proved. It's not to protect people or I'm a pedestrian, but you just look out. But I don't know. I don't know what's behind it.
Okay, all right. We'll try and find out anyway.
Cheers.
Thanks, Ken. Good to hear from you. How much have they spent on the polls, I wonder? Just a note, this is Gavin. I live in a town in southern England and have recently had a 20 mile per hour speed limit introduced on the residential road that runs past my house. Based on my anecdotal observations from my kitchen window, I'd say nobody's bothered. Everybody still drives past my house between 30 and 40 miles per hour. So if you do get these limits forced on you by an undemocratic government, do as we do in the UK. Ignore them, says Gavin. Thank you, Gavin. That is not an exhortation to break the law, as far as I'm concerned, but just that's a point well made, and thank you for that. I'm on the fence over the 20 mile per hour limits, but when you see the damage done in a 40 mile per hour collision, it makes me think hard about driving fast, let alone worrying about being allowed to drive fast on public roads. I remember how calm the road was in lockdown with the 40 mile per hour limit that was enforced then. It is at the moment, and Ken's point is well made. When Michelle Hayward was on Mannin Line, was it last week? I think it was last Friday she was on, talking about it will improve people's surroundings, quality of life in urban and suburban estates. So in built-up areas, 20 mile per hour limit, well, I think most people will accept that because you don't want people whizzing when there are cars parked on both sides of the road and children around and dogs and cats and this, that and the other. But at the moment, we're dealing with a non-tangible outcome. We don't quite know where this is going to lead us. And in psychology, there's an aphorism that says it's easier to walk towards something than away from something. At the moment, we don't quite know what we're walking towards, apart from a better quality of life. Well, how is it better? What's better about it? Non-tangible outcome at the moment. 16 minutes now before 1. Eddie's with us now. Hi, Eddie.
Hi, Andy. All right, mate?
Very good, thanks. Could do with some better weather, but go on.
Well, it's coming. Summer's on its way. I've attended the last couple of meetings of the road shows.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask a couple of questions while I was there, but I was hoping that the infrastructure minister might have had John Wannenberg there to back her up on some of the things, but he didn't attend. I don't think he attended any of them, actually.
He's not a member of Comin.
I know, but there was people there to back up other MHKs there whilst questions were going on. They passed over to people in the know, sort of thing.
Right.
But anyway, what it reminded me of, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, John Wannenberg announced, when asked about the cost up to now of the onshore wind farm, and he said it had gone, well, some suggested it should have been 25, but it's up to about 40 million, I believe, he said, did he?
The proposed cost of building it, you mean?
Yeah. About 40 million, I think he said.
Go on, yeah.
Yeah, so what I was actually going to ask the infrastructure minister was what I asked you 3 weeks ago on the show. I asked if Mr. Wannenberg could come back on and answer whether or not we would have to put a brand new radar system in at the Ronaldsway Airport, because we unofficially, these people want to remain anonymous, obviously. We've been told it could cost up to £50 million for a new radar system, because it would have to be the most modern, up-to-date radar system because of the height of these things and all the magnetism in it, and so on. But anyway, that's a question I asked Mr. Wannenberg to come and answer to you on Manx Radio. And the other question I asked him, is there a weight restriction on the bypass? It's at Castletown, past the airport. Because I know that road. I've been told by quite a lot of people in the know that has got a weight limit on it, that road. It's built on a bog. So the actual infrastructure won't take a 100-ton vehicle surely coming along that road. It could do that much damage. And if so, how much more money would we need for the infrastructure alone just to have these things put up? That was going to be my question last night to Michelle.
Where do you get the information about it being built on a bog? It's down in history books. Plus people. I've been around on the island for quite a bit now, as you know, and I speak to people about these things. People who know how that road was built, and we also unearthed one of the oldest Stone Age men not long back, wasn't we, on that area? Derby Haven. All that area was a bog at one time. So it's basically a floating road.
It's built on, if I can remember reading something about it, they put gorse bushes down, tons and tons of cut gorse bushes with heavy rocks on them, and then gradually built the heavy rocks down into a smaller grade and so on until you got a floating raft.
Right.
And then the road was built on top of it. But it wasn't built for 100-ton vehicles. Hence the reason why. But I asked the question, is there a restriction on it, a weight restriction or not? Well, he's never been in touch with me, and I don't think he's been back in touch with you to tell us yes or no.
Well, if anybody knows, if anybody's got the official word, then we'd certainly like to know.
Well, I'd like to know. Maybe you can ask him again if he can come on to tell us yes or no. I was going to ask Michelle Haywood last night, but the poor girl looked so sad in the corner with everybody giving a stick. I don't know why. While everybody else is talking about 20 mile an hour. It's such a bit of a laughing stock now, isn't it? That I can't understand why the government just don't say, look, let's do a U-turn. It's just a no-go, a disaster. Simple.
Okay.
Just scrap it.
All right, Eddie, we appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
And you, Andy.
Thanks for calling today. A message in from Liam, who just said, I think you're right, Andy. Well, I don't know. It's just a theory. Liam just said, is this 20 mile per hour simply a diversion from our other bigger problems? 11 minutes to 1.
Hi, Liz. I see you've had your garage converted. We're desperate for more room. Yes. Come through and have a look. John called Manx Property Conversions. We now have an extra bedroom, but it could be another reception room, kids' playroom or office. They also did our conservatory roof last year. We were so impressed, we got them back to convert the garage. Wow, I need that. What's their number again?
Call MPC on 450 500. That's 450 500. Or find them on Facebook at Manx Property Conversions.
Spectrum Windows. If your house needs a new look and your windows let in rain, keep those cold breezes out and make it look like new again. Spectrum Windows, Spectrum Windows. Quality through and through. Great work guaranteed to you. Spectrum Windows, Spectrum Windows. Spectrum Windows.
Ramsey Garden Centre have new stock arriving every week. There's something for everyone, whether for indoors or outside, plants, bedding, decorative or solar lights. Ramsey Garden Centre are open every day over the bank holiday, including Bank Holiday Monday.
The race is on to help local charity Manx Breast Cancer Support Group, and you can help win it. It's the KPMG Promenade Relay, Friday 18th of July, along Douglas Seafront, with 100% of entry fees and sponsorship going to Manx Breast Cancer Support Group, dedicated to enhancing breast cancer care on the Isle of Man. Gather your team of up to 4 people to tackle a 10k course, or go it alone over 5k. Entries close 16th of July. Visit kpmg.ws/Prom Relay 2025 for details and registration. The KPMG Promenade Relay, supported by your nation's station, Manx Radio.
Hi, this is Chris Pearson. Join me and Christy DeHaven chatting with Sir Barry Gibb about the Bee Gees and growing up on the Isle of Man.
I think Robert wanted some kind of visual idea for Jive Talking, and so we did that. Maybe the Douglas Bay Hotel.
What would you like the Bee Gees' legacy to the Isle of Man to be?
That the two are connected completely. That's what I'd like to see, and I'd like everyone to know that that's where it began for us.
Brought to you by Manx National Heritage.
Hi, this is Barry Gibb. Join me on Manx Radio with Christy DeHaven and Chris Pearson.
Tynwald Holiday Monday from 6 and available afterwards as a podcast at manxradio.com.
When the summer day is over.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
A note in on WhatsApp just says, Andy, the World Downhill Skateboard Championship round in the Isle of Man. Regarding that event, I rang the Tourist Information Inquiry Centre about parking at Tholt-y-Wil. The Tourist Information Inquiry Centre. They didn't have any information about it. I was told to contact Visit Isle of Man as it's their event. So did Tourist Information and Visit Isle of Man not work together promoting events? Surely they should be working together. That's the same as the roads in the north, says this correspondent on 515. North of Sulby through the Currachs built on bogs. They had to rebuild the one from the Sulby Glen pub, apparently. I didn't know that. Tony's on now. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Andy. How you doing?
Very well, thanks.
Luckily, Manx Radio's built on solid rock.
Oh, solid something.
So you won't be sinking into a hole anytime soon.
Here's hoping.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I keep bringing this up, and nobody ever seems to give me a very clear-cut answer. Why doesn't the Manx government take the post office, make it into a bank, not a banking hub, an actual bank, that the post office becomes a bank, as well as being a post office? It's one of the few places that doesn't seem to keep closing its offices, and it would be more viable if it was a bank. And I'm not talking about just putting an ATM in. I'm talking about people going in there and being able to talk to somebody about their banking. The banks keep closing their banks in all their branches wherever they can get away with it. And the government does absolutely zero about trying to stop them, because they're basically scared of the banks leaving, I think. I don't know. But you wonder what goes through the Treasury's mind when they say we'll close a few more branches. And as far as I can see, the Treasury's in favour of that, because they want to go to digital currency and we'll all be online. The fact that half the island, maybe a third of the island, don't want to do that is neither here nor there to the Treasury, because they're just more interested in their own agendas, most of which are not very bright. So if you made the Isle of Man post office a bank, it could then, for instance, have, I don't know, premium bonds. It could have a savings account that gives a better interest rate in the bank. And it could do that quite easily. Because if you offered that, all those people who've got bank accounts with the banks at the moment, who have to travel to get to them, would move their savings to a more attractive account in the Isle of Man Post Office Bank. That would give the Treasury a massive amount of capital, which they would be partially have support to. But they don't seem interested in this, I guess the banks have warned them off, or they just haven't got any imagination. I don't know.
Well, it would be fairly straightforward. I mean, Conister Trust changed to become a bank. They got a banking license. They're now a Manx bank. So, I mean, it would be very bold, wouldn't it? Do you think that would come from Treasury? Would it be their initiative, or?
I don't think Treasury have got a backbone to be able to challenge anything. This has to come from an election where we get rid of the idiots we've got and get somebody who starts doing what we want them to do. But first of all, they need to discuss why they won't even consider it. And there must be a reason, but they won't tell anybody.
Well,
they keep bluffing her off. And
the Gibraltar government started their own national bank not too long ago.
Well, about time, isn't it? Because obviously international banks have zero interest in the thousands of people out there who want to have access to accounts rather than going to Douglas to a main branch where they wait in a queue for however long it takes to get done what they want. I mean, I understand that banks think they should be making a profit, but the question is, they're making a profit and ignoring their customers, which is pretty bad, really. And I don't blame the individuals in the banks, because most of them don't necessarily agree with their banks closing branches. But that's done by central offices. And, you know, they keep saying, oh, well, we haven't got enough footfall. Well, the answer is because you basically keep fiddling the figures. You say, I haven't had enough footfall in the last 5 years. When was COVID?
In the last 5 years.
Do we?
Yes.
Well, I guess we include that, don't we? And of course, loads of people didn't come to it then. So we'll average it out and tell everybody that there's not enough football.
Okay. All right, Tony, got to go. It's the weekend. Have a good weekend. Thanks for that. Has anybody looked at the DOI website regarding the 20-mile-per-hour speed limit? There's no reference to an overall 20-mile-per-hour speed limit, just designated mainly built-up areas. So why is there talk if it's an overall island limit? Have I missed something? Don't think so. That's it. Have a great weekend.
W-I